Am I covered? That's the question everybody's asking about health insurance. Will your policy be canceled? Let me attempt to answer that. Originally, when the bill was passed, Affordable Care Act, there was a provision saying that any policy that existed before 2010 would remain in force and would not be canceled. Then 3 months after the bill was signed by the President, Health and Human Services, with the President's approval, of course, passed a regulation wiping out that grandfathering provision, in effect, saying that it would only apply to policies that had not been changed at all since 2010. Any change was deemed to be a new policy and would not be grandfathered in. And the changes they had in mind were things like raising the deductible or the copayment, or narrowing the benefits, or narrowing the coverage, or increasing the requirement for out-of-pocket spending. All of those were no-nos, or raising the premiums were no-nos, and if you did them, the policy would be canceled. Will your policy be canceled? If it's an individual policy, probably it will be. 85% of those policies have changed and are likely to be canceled. If it's from a small business, you're probably going to keep it, but there's a significant chance that you'll be canceled. Probably about a quarter of all small business policies will end up being canceled. If you're a large business, a large employer, then you're pretty well safe, although still 10 to 15% of those policies will be canceled. Nobody really knows until the insurance company finishes discussing each policy with the feds and ruling whether it was significantly changed or not. And that's a long process that will run throughout all of 2014. Why the cancellations in the first place? It isn't just that the government's a busybody and wants to be sure that you're adequately protected and is your nanny taking care of you. It's not just that at all. Basically, Obamacare is a device to take money from people that are insured and give them to people that aren't insured. And you can't take money from people that are insured unless you cancel their coverage first, because their premiums aren't going up if they're keeping their policy. It's the same as it's always been. And how do you take money and give it to those who are uninsured? So you invent some excuse for canceling the policies, like that they've changed. Then you cancel them, you throw them into Obamacare, and then you can jack up their premiums because it's a whole new policy. You pretend that you're giving them a better policy by putting a lot of extra coverage in there they don't need. But the main goal is to charge them higher premiums so that you can use that money to cover the uninsured. That's the shell game behind Obamacare. Now, if the cancellations are rescinded or stopped, the whole thing drops dead because there's not enough money to subsidize the insurance of those who are now uninsured. So the Republicans have introduced a bill in the House to roll back the cancellations and provide that the original intent of the law stands and the grandfathering will stick. That'll pass the House and stall in the Senate. But it's important for us to push that bill because it increases the pressure on the Democrats in the Senate to roll back that cancellation policy, to override the Health and Human Services regulation that provided for these cancellations. I believe that politically 50 million people will lose their coverage and that that's too big a force for the Democrats to ignore. I think they'll beat on the White House door demanding that Obama stop these cancellations. And pushing the House bill is an important part of that. So after the video, please go to my website, and in the left-hand corner, you'll find a petition supporting an end to the cancellations. We'll send that to your congressman, but more importantly, to your senators, and increase the pressure to urge them to roll this back. Thanks for watching.